questions when they do not tell you that they are similar. That means they do not tell you that these two figures in this diagram are similar. You cannot just assume that they are similar. You have to start by proving that they are similar before you can go on to the ratios of the corresponding sides. Got it? Okay, so for question 3, you would need to first prove that they are similar. And I told you, not yesterday, but about 2 days ago, which is the most common test for similarity? AA. Alright, about 90 to 95% of the time is always AA. Okay, does it mean that the other similarity tests cannot be tested? No, but probability tells us that most of the time is AA. Alright? Yeah, probability means the chances of it coming out. Okay, so for example, if you look like at this, all the questions that I don't go through, okay, I'll upload the working to the Google Classroom, but please go back and do it as well. Alright? So for example, in this kind of question, there are just a couple of things you need to take note. Number 1, look out for parallel lines. Right? So if you notice that these two lines are parallel, that means what? Okay, your alternate angles, your corresponding angles, this one immediately must off your head. Okay, so you would know that, hey, you know what? If I'm going to look for alternate angles, right, I'm going to look for the Z relationship. Okay? So you know that this angle is the same as this angle. Immediately already, these two angles are the same. And then vertically opposite angles. Immediately you can prove by AA that they are similar. Really, similarity for this kind of question, especially for question 3, all these are really very simple. Even this one, this is a very common one that we have done before, right? This is a common angle between these two triangles, right? Then you just need to prove another one. Parallel. Okay, corresponding. AA. By AA, you know that they are similar. And then, of course, you use your ratio of corresponding sides. Alright, so question 3, the entire question, I plan to go through, but no time. Go back and do it. I'll upload the answer on Google Classroom. Go and check yourself. Okay. I just want to go through maybe one of them. Maybe part A is still quite simple. Let us be a little bit ambitious. Let's go to part B. Alright? Now, I don't have time to write out the whole proof that they are similar, but again, let's go through this thing in our heads, alright? Now, if you notice here, we see a few parallel lines, right? So immediately off your head, I want you to immediately think about, which figures are similar? So if I were to look at this whole thing, right, there are many similar figures in this question here, but sometimes we don't need to prove all of them. Okay, sometimes it's a waste of time to prove all of them if it doesn't really help us to answer the question. Okay, so in this question, what are we trying to find here? They want us to find the values of the unknowns, right? So the unknowns are like E, D, F, and C. Where is C? C. Okay, so you need to look at this question and you need to think of a plan. What I like to do, instead of really going down to start figuring out which figures are similar to each other, is I try to find corresponding sides. Okay? So I want you to look at here, and I want you to tell me which pair of information, which corresponding sides do I already have. That means, for instance, I give you an example. Let's say I am looking at this figure. I know that definitely this is going to be similar to this, right? Right? Because I know, okay, corresponding, and then they share a common. By AA, I can prove it. Okay, but no time, so I'm not going to prove it. Okay, but I know that this is going to be similar to this. And if I want to find two sets of corresponding sides that I already know, I want to find the ratio. I realize that I cannot use this small divided by big, right? Because this is an unknown. I also cannot use this divided by this because I do not have the information. But what other information do you have? You have the 5, you have the 12. So this is the ratio that you have. And if you know this ratio, you can straight away make use of it. Alright? So I'm going to show you one and then I want you guys to work on it. Alright? So over here, I'm specifically looking at this and as well as this gigantic one. Right? So in this, I notice that I have a corresponding side that I do know. So I know that this is going to be 5/12. And from this, I can actually find the unknowns, every single unknown in these two similar triangles. Okay, let's figure out. You want to do C first or E first? C. Okay, let's do C first. So here I took the small divided by the big, right? The small divided by big, so I'm going to maintain the same pattern. So I'm going to take the small divided by the big. Okay, so Jordan, since you want to do C, let's can you help me out? So I know that this ratio is going to be C over what? Okay, it's going to be C over C plus 7, absolutely. And what is the reason? What's the reason? How come I can just straight away conclude that this is equal to this? Ratio of corresponding angles of? Yes. You guys hear that? It's quite lengthful, it's quite lengthful. Okay, but you do have to write it down, alright? So this is the ratio of corresponding sides of similar triangles. Okay, now oh man. My iPad is always very wonky, alright? It always disappears at the wrong time. Alright, so let me, don't panic, C plus 7. Let me write again. Ratio of corresponding sides of similar triangles. Alright. Yeah, I'm also human, I also get frustrated, right? Okay, quickly. So let us quickly cross multiply. Okay, so over here, if you cross multiply, okay, you would be able to find the value of C. Okay, now, so if you cross multiply, very quickly do is 5C plus 5 times 7 gives me 35 equals to 12C. Let's bring the 5 over. 7C is equals to 35. So if I divide by 7 on both sides, C is equals to 5. Is that okay? How do I get 12C? Because I cross multiply, 12 times C gives me 12C. Is that okay? Okay, so I got C equals to 5. Now I don't have time, okay, but if you can use the same method, you can find out what is E. Alright, and then you know what is C is 5. Okay, so you can use the same method to find the other unknowns. Okay, so go back and try. I want to actually go through one more question that I think that maybe some of you might have some issues. Let's go into a question that is more typical of what you might see in the exam. Alright, so can we look at question number 5? Okay, can we quickly look at question number 5? Okay, now when can you guys mark this as L? Okay, this don't mark this angle, but this point over here is L. Okay, this point over here. Can you quickly mark that out? PLQ. Okay, if you don't mark that out, then you will not be able to answer the question. Okay, now, so in this question, they tell us that in these following diagrams, PLR and QLNN are straight lines, so these two are straight lines. Now, why did they tell you that they are straight lines? Yeah, so some of you are pretty sharp, so you would know the property, right? So you know that this angle is actually vertically opposite to this one. Okay, but of course later we have to write it down. We cannot just put the angle symbol over there. But that's just one information that I know when I read from it. Okay, next one, PQ is parallel to NR. So immediately you should know alternate angles, corresponding angles, things like that. Okay, that we might need to use later on. Okay, and they, of course, they give us the dimensions of all the other sides. So let's look at A part I. Name a triangle similar to triangle PLQ. So triangle PLQ, where are you? Let's see, okay? So this triangle over here, they want us to name a triangle that is similar to it. Okay? So immediately, when I look at this thing, okay, immediately when I know that this thing, actually most of you by now, you should roughly know, right? That this triangle is similar to which triangle? The triangle at the bottom, right? But the way we reference the vertex is very important. The way that we say that this triangle is similar to this triangle must follow a particular order. So how are we going to do that? Okay? I want to help you guys out a little bit. Now, if I know that these two are definitely going to be vertically opposite, right? And then I have a series of parallel lines. So I can, let's look at alternate angles. This angle over here is going to be equals to, is it this angle? Is this angle the same as this angle? Is this angle the same as this angle?
Yes.
Yes. Alright, so don't reference the wrong angle. So over here, let me label it with 2. Alright, so how should I label the... remember I say that in triangle this and this, we want to prove, right? We want to prove that they are similar. So I'm going to start. Alright, so I'm going to say in triangle PLQ. Now the way I reference PLQ is I will start with the vertex that doesn't have any angle, and then I go to the one with 1, and then I end off with the one with 2. So I'm going to do the same thing. So over the other end, I'm going to start with R. So in triangle PLQ and triangle R, and then I go to the 1L, and then I'm going to end with N. Alright, so now I'm going to prove by AA. So in this two, the first thing, maybe let's do the vertically opposite. So I know that angle PLQ is equals to angle RLN. What is the reason? Vertically opposite angles. Okay, so vertically opposite angles. Okay, so that is my first A. And then of course I know my another A, which is what I have found earlier, angle PQL. So this angle over here, let me label it in blue. Okay, I know that this angle is equals to which angle? Can I get someone to help me? Gabriel? PQL is equals to, how should I reference it? How should I reference it? I give you a clue. I told you before, you can actually look at the pattern here. So if you see it's P, Q, and then R, so this is number 1, number 2, and number 3. How should you reference the other angle? R and L. Okay, you double confirm, is it the same angle? R and L. Yes, indeed it is. Right, it's referencing to this one. And what is the reason? We have actually went through it just now. Alternate angles, right? So the reason over here, let me change color just for... Okay, so we know it's alternate angles. Okay? And it's because alternate angles between parallel lines, the two parallel lines that we are seeing over here. Okay? So it's S P Q is parallel to S R. Alright, okay, so by AA we can actually conclude, so therefore, okay, the 3 dots means therefore, triangle PLQ is similar to triangle RLN because of AA similarity test. Alright? Is everyone okay? Okay, so this is for your part A. Is it lengthy? Absolutely. It's actually quite lengthy. I wouldn't disagree. Alright? Now, because you have already done this, can you look at part 2? Can you calculate the length of LR? Okay, we'll end off with this one, and then the rest I'm going to need you guys to do. The part B is exactly the same. Okay, it's going to be exactly the same. Alright, so what is the length of LR? So LR is over here. Let me highlight it. Okay, so LR is over here. Now remember in the question, we have already proven, okay, we have already proven that this triangle over here is similar to this triangle over there. Okay? So I want you to look at these two triangles, and can you tell me which two sides, okay, you already have the values of the two other sides? Which two sides? LQ, you have LQ and LN, okay, so let's double confirm in our thing. LQ and LN, yeah, absolutely, okay. So you know that you have the ratios of these two sides. So with this, you know that if you want to take the small divided by the big, that means it's going to be 8 divided by 12 will be equals to which side corresponds to this unknown LR? Which side? Which side corresponds to it? Look here if you don't know. LR is? Right, this part, right? Okay, so can you form that equation and can you quickly solve for what is my LR? Alright, can you quickly solve it? Okay, I know the bell has really rang, so let me just be quick about it. Okay, so I know the ratio is 8/12, and this is small over the big. It's going to be my LP. 9/LR. Alright, so with here you can cross multiply and you can find the unknown of the LR. Alright, can you please go back and do it by yourself? Okay, can you please go back and do it by yourself?